Recently, I went to Token 2049 in Dubai, and something happened over there that I want to talk to you about in today's video because it's really been on my mind ever since I went to that event. So I was in the room when Eric Trump was speaking, and I'll be honest, I wasn't really sure what to expect, but then he started talking about the challenges that he's faced as a real estate developer. And he was talking about how even with his kind of money, his connections and the teams that he has behind him, he can face years of delays just trying to get approvals to build.
But what it made me also realize is how absolutely antiquated and broken the modern financial system is. I mean, why is it that it takes, Chase Manhattan, why is it that it takes them 90 days to issue somebody a loan? Somebody wants to go get financing, they want to go buy a home. And this is true of banks all over the world. Why is it that it takes 90 or 120 days to go get a loan from a financial institution that you've spent 25 years banking with? Every single week I'm chasing a wire transfer. The SWIFT system is broken and is going to be replaced by cryptocurrency.
And I sat there thinking, wow, this sounds really familiar. Now, obviously, I'm not developing skyscrapers or anything like that, but I am someone who actively invests in property and the pain points are real. So this video isn't really about politics or hype or crypto will save the world. It's just a quiet conversation about something I think a lot of us are feeling, which is basically how hard it's become to own anything and why I'm paying attention to something called RWA right now. But before I get into that, I want to just get into the obvious. Buying property today, for most people, it feels out of reach. I mean, prices for property across the world have literally skyrocketed. If we just have a look at US cities alone, in the past decade, many of them have experienced significant increases in home prices. For instance, Detroit is up 203%, Tampa, Florida is up 175%, Dallas, Texas, 145%, Phoenix, Arizona, 141%, and Columbus, Ohio, 141%. Now, these substantial increases highlight the growing challenge of home affordability in major metropolitan areas. Even rent is eating up our paychecks. Nearly 50% of renters in the US now spend over 30% of their income on rent and utilities. This means that although wages are increasing, the purchasing power of workers is not significantly improving, making it harder to keep up with rising living costs. Even the savings rates are dropping. The US savings rate is down to 3.9%, way below historical averages. And even worse, as of early 2025, 33% of US adults reported having more credit card debt than emergency savings. The average interest rate on credit cards assessing interest was 23.37% as of August 2024, making it costly to carry balances. Now, these factors contribute to the difficulty in accumulating savings for significant investments like home down payments. People are drowning in debt. Those credit card balances are rising, with the average now $6,730. And then, even if you do somehow save enough money, you have to go through this soul-destroying process of applying for a mortgage. So yeah, when you add up all of that stuff, saving even a 20% deposit feels almost impossible. And even if you do somehow manage to save it, you're faced with this soul-destroying mortgage application process that drags on for weeks, sometimes even months. That mortgage approval process can be really time-consuming. On average, the process takes about 30 to 45 days from application to closing. Factors such as credit report disputes, credit scores, and documentation requirements can extend this timeline even further. Now, this lengthy process, it can be really stressful and might hinder timely home purchases, especially in competitive markets. So it's all terribly frustrating right now, and I know I'm not the only one who's been there. And so before I explain to you what RWA actually is, let me just rewind for a second and explain why I care enough about this to make a video on it to explain it to you. So first up, just to go back in time, I come from a family of investors. My grandfather taught my mum and my mum taught me, and there's one lesson that my grandfather always used to say that has stuck with me the most out of all of his lessons. What he used to say was only invest in what you understand and personally use. For example, if you shop at a particular grocery store every week, maybe that's a business worth buying shares in. Or if you always fuel up at the same petrol station, that's the kind of thing that you should have a stake in. But if you don't understand it, then don't touch it. And that advice has always kept me grounded when it comes to investing for years. It's actually why I stayed out of most altcoins for so long, because let's be honest, so many of them are just ideas wrapped in hype. The coins that tend to gain the most attention, like meme coins, aren't really doing anything that's going to change the world. Now, a lot of crypto tokens have a team of people behind them that have an idea of something that they want to build, but most of the time they haven't built it yet. So what you're essentially investing in is someone's idea that might turn into something one day, but it also might not. So that means if it doesn't exist yet, then I can't use it. And then that's going against my grandfather's rule when it comes to most cryptocurrencies. And that's why I personally don't jump in at every coin that's being hyped on the internet. But real estate I get. Now, throughout my life, I've owned multiple properties in multiple countries. I've renovated and I've had to go through council approval process. I've sold and had to wait months to get paid. I've dealt with banks. I've dealt with delays. I know the frustration and I understand, and I 100% agree with what Trump was saying. The system is broken.
So my entire life was in the modern financial system, and it works really well for, maybe the top 1% or the top 0.1%, but it doesn't work for the rest of the world.
Now, let's go back to when I was living in Australia. I went through the process of applying for a mortgage. It was my first ever property, and I was a business owner at the time, which for some reason the banks believe that that is high risk. It's more high risk than being employed for some reason, but then at the same time they say that owning a business is financial independence. So make that make sense? I don't even know. But because of that, it was honestly one of the most frustrating experiences of my life. But again, property is so expensive in Australia that for the average person, your only choice is to save what you can and borrow the rest. So it wasn't even like you had a way out. So here I was applying for a mortgage with the same bank that I had always banked with. Now, they could literally see my income, they could see my saving, they could see everything because all of my banking was with them. But they dragged out the entire process. They asked me literally, it's the most silliest of things like send me 2 years worth of bank statements. I bank with you. Those statements that you're asking me to send you are issued by you. Make it make sense. Can't you just log into some system and find that information? They were literally asking me to download things that were sent to me by them. And I was just like, this is a complete waste of time. If you know me well, you will know I'm a pretty patient person. I'm a pretty chill person. But if there's one thing that grinds my gear, it's paperwork. I cannot stand it. Anytime someone says, just scan this and sign it and send it back, I want to hurt someone physically. I cannot stand paperwork. But even after you get through that whole process, they then come back with more questions, asking for even more documentation, and the whole thing just drags on and on and on. It's so unnecessary, especially if you've made an offer on a property and you've got this deadline looming in the background, being the settlement date. And if the bank doesn't process things in time, you can lose the deal, or even worse, you can lose your deposit. It makes the entire process so stressful and so unnecessary. And it takes what is supposed to be a joyous time in your life, as owning your own home is the ultimate achievement for most people, and it turns that into a stressful nightmare. So it made me start wondering, why are we still doing it this way? And when I heard Trump speaking at Token 2049, I realized I'm not the only one having these thoughts.
These assets have become the greatest complement to one another, right? Real estate's illiquid, it's hard to move, it's really only accessible, at least on a large scale to kind of very few. It's very static in terms of location. Then all of a sudden you go to, cryptocurrencies, which is immediately liquid, easy to move, accessible to anyone, and you actually realize that cryptocurrencies become the greatest hedge in the world to kind of hard assets.
The thing is, real estate has always been the ladder. It's how most of our parents and our grandparents built their wealth. They bought a home, the home appreciated, and they used the equity to do more, or they rolled that wealth down through generations. But for a lot of people today, that ladder is being pulled up. Wages aren't rising fast enough, the cost of living is insane, and banks have no idea what to do with people like us, people who don't have a traditional 9 to 5 or who earn through digital businesses, crypto trading, or even just content creation. So what happens? You feel stuck. You feel like you're doing everything right and you're still locked out of the system. And so eventually you just stop looking and you stop trying. But that's where blockchain and this thing called RWA might offer something different. And so when I heard Eric Trump speaking about this idea that real estate and assets in general could be moved onto the blockchain, I paid attention. Now, straight up, he wasn't talking about meme coins. He was talking about using blockchain to solve problems in the real world, like the delays, the endless paperwork, the stress, the nightmare, all of that kind of stuff. That's where the concept of RWA comes in. So let's talk about it. What is RWA? RWA stands for real world assets. And the idea is pretty simple. It means taking real things like real estate, for example, or gold or bonds, and putting them onto the blockchain, allowing you to be able to earn from and invest in things that exist in the real world. But the point of this is to do it without the mess of the banks, brokers, and lawyers. So this isn't about pump and dump coins. It's about making ownership more accessible. Let me share with you another thing that happened to me recently that actually is part of why this really struck a chord with me and why I think this really does matter. So recently I bought a property in Dubai. Now I had the funds ready and I was prepared to pay the down payment, but there was one problem. The amount that I needed to secure this property was larger than my maximum daily transfer limit with my bank. So I called up my bank and I tried to get an increase and they just said no. They just said it wasn't possible. Like I didn't have a choice. Even if I wanted to make it larger, I just couldn't. I just literally couldn't move my own money to pay for something I was trying to buy and had saved for a long time. And there was a risk that I was going to lose that property if I didn't act fast. So I thought twice and I thought, okay, let's ask the developer if they accept crypto. And they did. Now, thankfully in the UAE, it's so forward thinking here that when it comes to crypto, and most developers here will accept it. And so once they said yes, the process to buy that property in the UAE using crypto went like this. First up, I signed the sales offer. It was sent to me by email. I threw my digital signature on it. I emailed it back. That process took me 10 minutes max. The next thing I had to do was submit my KYC, scan my ID, fill out my details, another 10 minutes max. A few minutes after doing that, I was sent a crypto payment link. I paid that online, direct from my wallet to theirs. It tracked it all online and it told me when they had received it and it was done. Within an hour after that, I was sent a receipt and the property was secured. It was done. There was no waiting, no limits, no one to tell me what I can or can't do with my own money. It was the most seamless process. And now every time that I have to make a payment on that property, they just email me and they're like, would you like to pay crypto again? Send me a link, bang, I can pay for it. It's so simple. That's the kind of experience that makes you realize maybe the current system really is a problem. Now look, obviously I'm not here to give you financial advice or to tell you what to buy or get involved in, but I do just want to help you understand what RWA looks like in the real world. And I want to give you a few examples of projects that are doing this already. Ondo Finance is one. They focus on tokenizing US Treasury bonds. Their token is backed by actual government debt and gives you a yield, just like a bond would. It's a way for everyday people to assess safe yield-generating assets, usually reserved for big institutions. Realty is another one. Now, this one lets you buy fractional ownership of US rental properties. You earn rental income proportional to the amount you hold. You can start with as little as $100, don't need a mortgage, don't need a broker. Tangible tokenizes real estate and other physical assets like gold and watches. Their token is backed by real estate and offers a rebase style yield. Plus, they're experimenting with bringing real world yield onto the blockchain. And another one I found is called Maple Finance. They focus more on tokenized bonds and credit markets. They help businesses access capital faster and let investors earn fixed income through tokenized lending. Now listen again, I just want to be really clear. This list isn't a list of recommendations. I just want to show you what the RWA space actually looks like right now, especially because if you're watching this channel and you have been watching for a while, then you will know that we are very much a heavy trading channel. We often don't care too much about what certain altcoins do, and we don't really watch how they're performing in the real world. We simply just trade the price action of it, and I'm still obviously a massive fan of that. I am a trader. It's how I build my wealth, but then I take that wealth and I rotate it into the real world. And that's why this has sparked my interest, because it's marrying together my two loves, crypto and real estate. And I think this is a really good opportunity to be able to teach people that crypto isn't just crypto on its own as a way to make money and then that's it. You take your profit and you're done with it. Some of these crypto projects are actually building things that you can use in the real world. And if you're looking at ones like this that allow you to diversify how you build wealth, especially with the idea of fractional real estate, if you can't afford to buy real estate outright, I just think that has the potential to be a really amazing way to diversify and build wealth over the long term. Just imagine you start investing in fractional real estate and you're getting this return over time. That return over time is going to help you get to a point quicker that you can get the deposit together to buy your own place. And that's where I see the value in these sorts of things, because I'm all about diversification. You know, I'm the person on the internet that tells you, yes, I'm a trader and I make money from trading, but it's not the only way I make money. I make money from investing in real estate. I make money from owning a business. I make money from having money in savings accounts and the stock market, and I am diversified myself. So when I started to look into this, I was like, this is a great way for people to be able to get from where they are now to where they want to be faster. So how do you get involved? Honestly, I don't think you should do anything yet. But if this does spark your curiosity, here's where to start. Number one is going to be to follow the projects that maybe I mentioned, or you could probably research even more. Go read about them, check the white paper, see if it makes sense to you. And whilst you're at it, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, be sure to hit that button now to subscribe and also like the video. Next, it's going to be important to understand the risks. Just because something is backed by a real asset doesn't mean it's guaranteed. If you want to get involved, I would say start small. It needs to be an amount of money that it doesn't scare you to lose. And with a lot of these platforms, you can test the waters with just $50 or $100. And then lastly, I'm going to tell you to think big. This was the big key takeaway that I got from listening to Eric. This isn't just about making money. It's about building wealth and access in new ways. So for now, for me personally, I'm just diving deeper into this because it's something I personally understand, and I've got experience with real estate, and I'm curious about how blockchain might solve some of the issues that I faced. Real estate right now feels broken. Banks might be making it harder than ever to buy the homes that we want, but maybe, just maybe, there's another way in. And if I've learned anything from my grandfather, it's this. If you understand something, and you can see the value in it, that's where your money should go. So I understand real estate, I understand the pain points, and I understand crypto. And I'm starting to understand how blockchain might be able to fix the pain points that come with owning property. There's a whole world of possibility opening up in RWA, and it feels like we're just getting started. So if this is something that you want more of, drop a comment and let me know. I'll be checking them before I decide where I take this next. And in the meantime, I'm definitely going to be testing out a few of these things that I found. And if you want me to document my experience, be sure to let me know in the comments.
And the faster we get to that point, the faster we have mass adoption, and the faster we beat the big banking industries who hated all of us and probably continue to hate all of us. So on behalf of myself, the family, the entire team, thank you to Dubai, thank you to Abu Dhabi, thank you to UAE, thank you to all of you, and thank you for believing in World Liberty Financial. We love you all. Thank you guys.
Love you guys. Thank you. Love you guys. Thank you.